Alright, by popular demand, you guys asked me so many times since you saw I got this one. Here's the video on the new Flock Audio Patch LT that you can see here. This blue light there in my rack. I'm gonna show you the system, I'm gonna show you how I personally use this because it's a little bit different from what you see around. And for those who are not familiar, I'm gonna cover the basic of what this thing is. Let's get to the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixBest TV. Hope you're having a great day. Before we start, check the info box down below for my mixing courses on ProMix Academy, because at the time of this video they are running the Insanity Summer Sale. Crazy discounts on my courses and other great mix engineer courses, so definitely check that out. Free plugins, special discounts and offers, and if you want to support the channel, but most important, if you really want to learn how to mix and master professionally, click the join button down here, become a MixBest TV member, access the already big and always growing library of full mixing courses, breakdowns start to finish, dedicated mastering courses, special videos. You also get mix consultations with me via Skype or email. Let's get to the video. For those who are not familiar, what is the Flock Audio Patch and Patch LT, which is the one I have? Well, it's extremely simple. It's a digital patch bay. All right, we all know what a patch bay is. It's a device that is used to route a signal, which could be a microphone, a guitar, a bass, a track from your DAW, to outboard gear, whether it's at 1 unit, 2 units. You can also mult the signal and send it to different chains. Maybe you want to record with and without comp or with and without EQ. Is a routing device for the analog domain, okay? And everyone who used a cable patch also know how messy patch bays are with all the cables and how annoying it is to manually change the routing of different machines and different signals and different units. I got rid of my 3 patch bays a long ago, exactly because of this. I hate cables and I hate patch manually. It makes recalls so much worse and so much longer. Thank God someone, Flock Audio, made this great digital patch bay. So it's basically the same device. It's used to route signals in and out from and to outboard gear, microphones, and so on, but it does it digitally, which means no cable. You hook up your machines to the Flock and you control everything from your screen. So let's take a look. So here on my screen, you can see the interface of the Flock Audio Patch app. This is the software that controls the unit that is right there. And once you connected all the devices that you want to the patch, you're done. You will never touch a cable ever again. I have the 16-channel version, the LT, and you can see I have 8 paths, okay? So 16 channels, 8 stereo pairs for me. And it's as simple as it gets. You have your signal path top to bottom. In this case, you can see path 1 and 2 is a stereo pair, 3 and 4 stereo pair, and so on. And you simply want to insert 1 unit, you just drag it in like this. And now is in the path. You can change the order. In this case, I have a fatso here. You want to change the order, you just do this, and then your routing is changed and you don't have to patch anything. I smile while I'm thinking about this. Even though I had it for a few days, I still makes me smile every time, because if you ever use the patch bay, you know what a pain in the ass is to cable everything and to patch everything. Installation of the patch for me was a little bit tricky just because my system is so complicated and convoluted. I have a lot of interfaces, I have a lot of analog input and output channel, and especially my capture chain, you know, the one that I capture my final mix with the Dangerous 80 Plus, it's even more complicated. So it took a while and a couple of trial and error with cables to understand how to properly patch it for what I need. Because like I said, I use it in a slightly different way from what you usually see around. You see, in this case, on the patch, I have this project. I have the routing saved for the specific master that I did for Nolan Neal, America's Got Talent and The Voice. Amazing, amazing song that I hope it will be released soon so you can hear the final product. But let me play you a few seconds, a sneak peek. Okay, you get the idea. So for this master, I had things a little different because I had actually the choice, the freedom to either work on the final mix on the 2 tracks or to work with 2 separate tracks, as you can see here on the screen, the music and the vocal stem. And I decided for this one to work with 2 separate tracks. And you can see in my insert, I patched the API 5500 on the music stem, and I patched the West Audio Pultec and the Expressor, which was bypassed, on the vocal stem. And both of these go to my mastering chain, which is the Neve 542s, then the Fusion, and insert in the Fusion I have the SPL, the West Audio Mastering Compressor, and the spacecraft captured by the Dangerous AD. But for the final print, I wanted to insert the Fatso after the compressor and before the spacecraft, okay? And I could do this with the patch, that's exactly why I got it, without having to do another ADDA round trip to insert the Fatso in the chain. For you to understand how I use the patch and how useful it is for me, I need to show you my hardware insert and explain you a little bit my system. 1 and 2 are for the main output for monitoring. They go to the MC 3.1 monitor controller, which goes to all my speakers. 3 and 4, you can see the Dione 1176, then the 2-bus chain, which is a bunch of units daisy chained, and that I will need to explain you in depth in a second. One of the Fatso, the 2 distressors, the Blue Stripe, the LA2A, LA3A, the Successor, and so on. You can see all my units here. So basically in Pro Tools, when you want to use hardware insert, Pro Tools forces you to go out from, let's say, output 3 and 4, out of your DAW in the machine, and then back to the same input. So if you went out from output 3 and 4, you need to come back in input 3 and 4, 7, 8, 7, 8, and so on. So you can do matrix, weird matrix, okay? That's how Pro Tools works. In my case, because I equally mix and master, I needed 2 setups, basically, 2 different routing. And that's the thing that I really love about the Flock. It's that you can create presets for your routing. And in my case, let me show you. I have a mastering setup, and I click and the preset come out, and a mixing setup. And you can see it changes. With 1 click, it changes all my routing. For me, it was vital to be able to change the routing with 1 click, because when I'm mixing, I'm not mastering, and vice versa. And the routing changes completely, okay? And then in cases like this master that I was doing, you can also save a specific session if your routing, just like in this case, doesn't fit one of the 2. For me, this was the selling point. You know, when I realized that I could do this, I was like, yeah, this is absolutely a no-brainer. It's worth the money just for that, okay? I was very happy with, you know, this setup is so versatile. If you don't want one of the units, you just bypass it and you're done, okay? But for me, it was kind of a compromise because I have so many other units that I could want to use in mastering. For example, my API 5500, or the Fatso like I did in this session, or one of the Heritage, or, and this is another reason because I got the patch, I have a new gigantic, amazing tube unit coming, which will also be patched into the Flock and be available at any moment to be patched in the chain. At the same time though, I had to stick with what Pro Tools wants as far as hardware insert when you mix, okay? Otherwise, I could have patched these machines right in the chain. So you can see it in my screen. Basically, I broke the connection halfway in the SSL insert path. So Neve Fusion, insert Fusion into the PQ SPL, and then into the WES. I broke the connection at the WES compressor before the spacecraft, okay? Because the spacecraft is always gonna be last. So before, if I wanted to insert a Fatso, first of all, I only could insert it either before the mastering chain or after. But most important, I have to go out and in twice. And that, for how little it degrades the signal. So it was a no-go. We are talking about mastering. In this case, instead, you can see my mastering setup sees the 2-bus out, and here I can insert my 5500 or the Fatso after it. And all that is done in the digital domain because those machines are all connected to the Flock. So there's no additional conversion, and that's key, you know, especially when you master. I want to take the 5500 out, that's it. You know, now the Fatso is after the West Audio. Okay, I want to put the 5500 after the Fatso, I can do it with just one click, and that's absolutely amazing. But like I said before, I also needed my mixing setup. With one click, I can go back, and there you go, I have it. And for the mixing, I needed to keep each unit connected to the respective channel on the interfaces that I have in Pro Tools. So in this case, you can see my Motu Out 1314 are connected to the API 5500. The Motu Out 11 and 12 are connected to my Fatso. When I have this setup, I can keep inserting whatever unit I want, just like I did here, without touching anything or repatching anything. And in that case, they run as an hardware insert. Let's say this was a standard 2-track mix that I was mastering, so not multi-track like this one. It won't sound good because these are not set up for this task, but just to show you. Let's say I'm gonna bypass everything. I can't touch the machines that much because I am actually mastering this song, but this is how it sounds with my regular 2-bus chain. Now I'm gonna patch in the 5500, which will come after the West compressor. So the SPL is before, then I'm compressing, then I want a sweetening EQ. We unbypass the 5500 and we have it in the chain. Okay, same thing. I want the Fatso after the 5500 out. I'm putting the Fatso in and then out again, and now we run into the Fatso too. And actually, I was pressing bypass from the actual machine because I'm used to it. But the cool thing is that you can right click on any insert and bypass it, you know? And you can bypass it individually from your screen. You don't even need to reach the unit. So that's totally cool. You can remove it. Here you have a setting menu for setting up multiple units that you want. You have a user preferences. You can make the GUI larger, smaller, anything you want. And of course, here you have the hardware setup menu. And here, basically you set this one up the first time that you install it, then you connect all the machines. And I left empty slots, as you can see, because like I said, a new unit is coming. Just keep an eye out because it's gonna be mind-blowing. You can also link input and output by clicking on the lock. I'm not gonna do it right now, otherwise you're gonna change the names. It's an extremely useful unit, not only because it improves your workflow. So if you're in a situation like mine, you avoid additional ADDA, which is always better, but also it just makes the workflow so much easier, patching in units left and right with the click, with just dragging and dropping with no cables at all. And if you track, you get much more out of this than I'm actually doing, because for me it's kind of a luxury item. But if you track, think that you can do this if you connect all your hardware and your microphones to the patch, because you can do that. You can test preamps, one mic, and you just bring in different preamps or bring in different compressors, or you can build 2-3 chains, because you see this M button here, you can actually mult your signal, all right? And mult your signal to, you know, different sets of outboard or compression and EQ. So you can audition things on the fly, just bypassing and unbypassing, or muting and just changing anything in your signal path with one click. I think this is a very, very well thought product, and I waited a little bit to see like what was the feedback around, and you know, I finally got it. And like I said, after the first few hours that took me to set up, to understand what cables were going where, because like I said, my system is complicated, was definitely worth it. The installation of the patch is super simple. As soon as you install the patch on your computer, you turn the unit on and just sees it. You can see here at the bottom, host signal. So no glitches ever. I started working with it right away for clients, not a glitch. So, and if you didn't know about this, you weren't familiar, I know a lot of, you know, you guys run studios and have more or less outboard geared. I would definitely look into this. So I hope this video was useful. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like. Check, like I said at the beginning, in the info box down below, there's the Insanity Summer Sale for my and all the courses on ProMix Academy, so take advantage of it. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have questions. Click the notification bell. It helps the channel a lot. Become a member if you want access to the good stuff. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.
Hands on my neck, hands get my throat.